You're listening to episode 100 of Give Yourself Some Leeway with me, your host, Eugene Lee. And I think episode 100 is a very fitting way to wrap up 2023 and maybe share one of the biggest lessons I learned in my burnout recovery as a type A high achiever. To actually grasp this concept as well was probably pushing past a lot of beliefs that I held from my childhood, from going through college, going through my first job and everything that led to my downward spiral. And learning the concept is one thing, but actually embracing it and making it a part of my lifestyle is probably the one way to sustain this hyper achieving mindset in a sustainable way without burning yourself out. So for any of you listening, especially coming up to the end of the year, I think this is the best way forward before going into 2024 to help you to recharge and recover and recompose yourself to take on your vision, to take on your goals in the new year. So I really hope that you enjoy today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. And again, I'm going to keep this short and snappy because, time can be very limited in the run up to Christmas and we've got so much things going on. But keeping it short and snappy, this is something that, when we look back on the year, we are often overwhelmed by how much we've done and how much we haven't done. Sometimes we're like, oh, but I didn't get my email list built. Oh, I didn't meet this many people. I meant to get to do 101 different things on the to-do list and time just got ahead of me, or so many things got in the way. And often we get overwhelmed by the amount of things that we didn't do. But it's important to take a step back and acknowledge everything that you have achieved. All the calls and the messages that you've responded to, all the emails that you've written, all the group calls, all the programs, all the masterminds that you've attended, any workshops that you may have created. I was reading an email that my friend Jules sends out, and it just got me to think of this in a much more concise way, that we often don't take a step back and acknowledge everything that we've done. We always look at the things that we haven't achieved this year. We're always driven to do more. So in the final 2 weeks coming up to the end of 2023, you put yourself in the position of, what haven't I achieved? Rather than taking a step back and being self-aware, acknowledging everything that you have achieved. What have you achieved between January and December 2023? Take a moment and acknowledge how much you've achieved, how much you have grown. And speak with self-compassion. Get rid of that niggling negative self-narrative. That's a tongue twister that I'm sticking into way too many episodes lately. But that niggling negative self-narrative, that voice of judgment in your head that only tells you all the things that you're doing wrong, that constantly criticizes you. Get over that voice of judgment. Treat yourself with kindness and compassion. Look at all the things that you have achieved. And yes, you can make a list of the things that you wanted to achieve, but hey, that's something that you can look forward to working on in 2024. It's not like a ticking time bomb. Oh, I didn't get to finish my email list this year. Looks like it will never happen. No, you can always make a goal for next year. And when it comes to self-care, rather than getting stressed out and overwhelmed and overworking yourself in the final 2 weeks of 2023, it's important to create space for recovery. And there's enough stress happening, especially over the holiday season, when it comes to social obligations and family events and trying to meet everyone and trying to get everything ready and getting all the gifts sorted. It's so important to take time out of your calendar and not say like, oh, I'm going to take, I'm going to put my feet up for 30 minutes when I get a chance over Christmas. No, you need to put it in your schedule on certain days that this is me time. This is time that I'm creating for me to have space. You've done so much this year. You need to create that space to allow yourself to do nothing. I remember a few years back, there was a podcast, Where's My Mind, with Niall Breslin, and he was interviewing Adam Grant about languishing. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, the start of the episode is like, oh, it's all about doing nothing. I was like, I could never do that. I was so restless that the idea of doing nothing was like, that is so unproductive. I've got to be doing something. But there's so many times that we think we're being productive, but we're just doing all the busy tasks. And there's actually nothing creative or productive coming out of that time. And Adam Grant was saying on this episode that he just took the moment, he was playing Mario Kart with his niece and nephews, and that was the moment that the mental block lifted. When he was doing absolutely nothing, when you're in that default mode, it's actually more creative and productive than you logically think. So even when you think, oh, I can't take that time to do nothing, I have so much work I need to do, I have so many issues, decisions, problems that I need to solve, that time that you dedicate to doing nothing and not focusing on those decisions, problems, workload, giving yourself that space allows your mind to work in that default mode where your subconscious can work through some of those decisions and help break through the fog that is currently there. So rather than waiting for, oh, I'll take a break when I feel tired, you need to schedule that into your calendar right now. Okay, maybe Christmas Day is probably not the best time to give yourself nothing time, but there is that wind down time, I feel, between like the 26th and the 29th, 30th of December, where you can say, okay, everyone's kind of in a bit of a limbo between Christmas and New Year's, but that's a perfect time for me to just take time to do nothing. Maybe it's to put your feet up and throw on something on Netflix in the background on low volume and just relax, or go for a long walk, or go for a cycle. Nothing too strenuous, just something to let your mind process. Or maybe just take a long nap, just chill. Read a book, nothing too serious. And creating that space is so much more beneficial for you than we let ourselves think. Like, some doom scrolling is not a relaxing activity. If you're doom scrolling through social media, there's so many like dopamine triggers that it doesn't actually let your mind to fully relax. So turn off the social media, just unplug from online and read a book, watch a movie, watch Christmas movies, but not, just take the time to do something that you normally wouldn't do. I'm trying to wrap this up before I go off another rant about what Christmas movies to watch other than Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings marathons, or Die Hard. Let's not get into that. But yeah, become self-aware. Acknowledge all that you have accomplished this year. And give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself that kindness and compassion. And take that moment for self-care. Your self-care routine over Christmas is to make sure that you are scheduling days for doing nothing. With yourself, you dedicate some time for yourself to relax and recharge. And just like that, I'm also going to take this time to do nothing over Christmas break. And I will see you in 2024 with episode 101. Something that I wouldn't have thought of this time last year. I was struggling on episode 10 to see, do I want to go into 2023 with Give Yourself Some Leeway? and I was feeling stuck. And 90 episodes later, here we are with so many stories, so many lessons, so much golden nuggets of advice and experience that I've gotten from my guests over the past year. And so much that I'm grateful for, and so many more interviews to come in the next couple of months too. So thank you all for listening. Thank you all to my guests as well for sharing your stories. And here's to 2024 and what that brings for all of us. Thank you again for listening. Enjoy the next 2 weeks. Make sure you make that time to do nothing and just unwind, relax, recharge, and recover. And don't make any New Year's resolutions. Take the time to focus on what is your vision, what is your purpose, what is your ikigai. We'll get more to that in January. Until then, take care.